going on, Jerome's? Happy Monday. Happy 4th of July weekend. Now, so we put out a call for questions, I guess like 11 days ago, and always love and respect the Jeromes who put in questions for Q&A. We never want to take that for granted, but it has been a little bit hectic. Kind of forgot about it, but we're still going to have regular Q&A, but I wanted to get to some of these questions so we condensed it down into, I don't know, what could be a new segment. Monday morning Vikings mailbag or something like that. So we picked five of the best questions and wanted to dive on in. So let's do that. First up, Carl Gersher. I love the pick of Dwayne McBride in the 7th round. However, part of me wishes we would have taken Andrew Voorhees as a possible upgrade replacement for Ezra for the 2024 season. What are your thoughts on my thoughts? Also, starting off the day with your daily videos is the best. Thank you very much, Skull. Hey, thank you for coming along, and respect the ironic name. You should have raised your child better, but Carl Gershman Sr., get it? Whatever. Anyways, so Andrew Voorhees, the pride of USC, first-team All-American, was a stud, and I did love him going into the draft. Now, he tore his ACL at the Combine, but I respect his competitiveness. He still did the bench with a torn ACL, racked up a bunch of reps there, and I think he is going to be a good professional. I mean, this year, obviously, he's going to be redshirted as he recovers from that ACL. He ended up going, I want to say 229 in the 7th round to the Ravens. The Vikings took McBride at 222. And would McBride have been a UDFA? And could you have gotten him? I mean, it's possible, but I mean, we're playing Monday morning quarterback here in the Monday morning mailbag. But I think that Voorhees is going to be a very solid and competent professional. I think that getting him in the 7th round or later, I mean, it is pure taking advantage of market inefficiencies. But I don't know. We'll see. Like, the Ravens picked him up. I think eventually he's going to start for Baltimore. And, I mean, EDC just does the damn thing again, right? But, yeah, it would make sense taking a swing at him if the Vikings had an extra 7th round pick. Or, hell, I would have taken him in the 6th round. But whatever. Trust Kwesi. Next up, Kyle Engstrom. I can't wait for the season. Appreciate all our videos in the offseason. Who will be the breakout superstar and one player that will take a major step back? So, a breakout superstar, Brian Asamoah. Let's go. 33. Trey. I think that he is going to step into the off-ball linebacker role in the middle of that defense. Jordan Hicks is going to be El Capitan out there in all likelihood. He's probably going to wear the green dot. But Asamoah in the modern NFL, I think, is going to be given the freedom to fly around and make plays. And also remember, Flores loves blitzing every single player, and especially his off-ball linebackers. And could Asamoah become a Jerome Baker type off-ball in Flores' scheme? It's possible, even though a little bit undersized, a little bit underweight. But the intensity that he brings, as well as the nose that he has for the football, I think he's just going to be absolutely dynamite, man. And I love that he's going into the season penciled in as a starter opposite of Hicks, and it's a position, it's kind of a weaker position, but if Asamoah steps up, if Ivan Pace Jr. steps up, I do think that it can become a strength. So I'm really excited to see what Asamoah does. He's a good kid, great head on his shoulders. I think he's going to be a future leader of this team, and it's just fantastic, man. And player that's going to take a step back, I have two names in the back of my head, but I don't want to put that out in the universe, but I think people know. Next up, not Milo. What is Kwesi planning for the future? Does he plan on winning a lot of games this year and trying to contend or tanking? And how does he plan on rebuilding the defense? So the whole thing about it is that owners, generally most owners, like they want to keep your team competitive, win games, give the fan base hope, because that allows ticket sales, that sells merchandise, that gets people to pay attention on the TV, that go to games, concession, parking, all that stuff. So it is good business. Now, in a vacuum, if you're a general manager and you knew that you couldn't get fired and the team wouldn't lose money, would tanking make sense to land a generational quarterback up at the top? Yes, it would, but in a vacuum. But we don't live in a vacuum, because generally, general managers who tank a team and end up with the number 1 overall pick, they get fired, unless you're Ryan Poles, and the Bears just accept mediocrity. But Kwesi's touched on this too, where it's a balancing act of reloading this team as well as putting out a competitive product. Now, I think that Kwesi did a great job of that last year. I think that he did a good job of that this year, this offseason. And you could easily say, like, even minus a lot of the old veterans, and again, I stress old veterans, I mean, this team on paper, on purpose, is better than the 2022 version that won 13 games in the division. So I think that you can see Kwesi loading up and finding the next generation. Bringing in Lewisine to replace Harrison Smith, Asamoah to replace Kendricks, Addison to replace Thielen, etc. So I think that it is a balancing act, but I think the Kwesi is doing a damn good job at this point. Next up, destined for greatness. Do you think we have enough resources to trade up and draft a quarterback next year? Probably not the stratosphere, since the Vikings are going to be drafting at 32. Or it could be 31 if the Dolphins screw up again. But, the Vikings are going to be at the back end of the first round and trading up for the quarterback of the future. It is a large jump if you want to go all the way to the top. And also it's dicey because some teams near the top are generally bad because they're deficient at the quarterback position and are generally going to take one of the top quarterbacks. I mean, this year was an anomaly because the Bears do have Fields and they're banking on his potential. But, team, you can do it. Where when the Chiefs went up for Mahomes, I believe they went from 25 to 10, and it took 2 firsts and a third. 25, an extra first rounder, and a third round pick. So, this is going to be a good quarterback draft. Well, that's what they say with Caleb Williams and May and Quinn Ewers and probably several quarterback names that are on the fringe right now. Joe Burrow, before his final year at LSU, was seen as like a day 3 selection heading into his final year in Baton Rouge. So, I don't know, I think that if they want to move up, they can move up. But also, they don't necessarily need to move up all the way to the top. All right. Next up, Traveler. Unless Vikings draft a top NFL-ready quarterback next year's draft, what options for a starting quarterback do they have outside of extending Kirk? Maybe a trap. So it is a good question. Now, the Vikings obviously were doing their diligence on quarterbacks in the draft this year. They would have traded up to 1 for Bryce Young. Obviously, Anthony Richardson would have been in play, probably Stroud. Obviously, it wasn't Will Levis because they balked at taking Will Levis in the first round, and then they didn't maneuver for him later on. They did take Jaren Hall in the 5th round, but that's a big-time question mark, and it's tough to hand the reins over to a second-year former 5th-round quarterback, even though the Commies are trying to do that with Sam Howell this season. But, I mean, Kirk is in a fantastic situation. He has got the keys of one of the best offenses in the league. He has the best wide receiver in the National Football League. He's a top 2 or 3 tight end, and the offensive line should and could get better. And Addison is an upgrade over Thielen at their respective spots of their career. KJ is going to be KJ, and year 2 with Kevin O'Connell. So I think Kirk is in a spot where he can really leverage this in a contract year and get paid wherever he goes. And I think the Vikings may be stuck. I think they may have to just pay Kirk Cousins whatever it's going to take. Otherwise, I mean, you're going to get a future 3rd-round pick and compensatory picks, even with the void years, because that doesn't count, or that doesn't hurt you in the compensatory pick formula. So a 3rd-round pick in 2023 or 2025, congrats. Cool. But, yeah, I think they may be stuck with Kirk unless they do have a plan to trade up for the quarterback in the future. And then you're just tossing him in cold. One more. Jack Hall. What do you think is Jordan Addison's max potential? So I love Addison's shiftiness. I think that he's going to step in very quickly and be a Devontae Smith, type wide receiver too. Devontae, lean as well as a great route runner. He's great complementing A.J. Brown in Philly. I think Addison can be that right away. And I think that his ceiling could be Stephon Diggs, where, Diggs, the 6 foot, $175, $180 receiver who's silky smooth in route running and coming in out of transitions, can play inside and outside. And I think that Addison can be that dude. I think that's, I mean, even though us Vikings fans, obviously we have opinions on Stephon Diggs, but Diggs is probably still a top 5 to 7-ish receiver, despite his off the field actions. But on the field, he's still that dude. And when it was peak Thielen and peak Diggs, it was a 1A situation. And I think that, maybe Addison doesn't have the ceiling of, say, Justin Jefferson, but that's not a demerit on Addison. That's just, Justin Jefferson is like Jordan. He's like in a different league. I was going to say Jordan Jefferson, but that's his brother. But yeah, I think Addison has all the potential in the world, and I think that he is in a great spot where he doesn't have the pressure on him to be a wide receiver one from the get. So I think that he's going to be that dude, man. I really think so. But that's it. That's Monday Morning Mailbag. I don't know what we're calling this. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.